Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian from Apex Auction Car Reconditioning. On the cheap flip car here, the eyesore, hopefully not for too much longer. We got the wash and the decom process done quickly, compact, easily, low overhead. We want to continue that with a little bit of a correction or a paint enhancement. And for that, we're going to be using Old Reliable for me. You can use whatever all-in-one that you would like to. Some have Montana waxes like 3D Speed. Some have polymer sealants. Some have just quality T1 Carnauba. Some have SiO2. Some have graphene. It doesn't matter to me. For me, it's going to be 3D Speed. A vehicle like this, in the condition it's in with the mileage that it has, and to whom it's going to probably be sold to, a Montana wax is good enough. And I want to take some time before we get started with the correction to explain to you the difference between a Montana wax and, say, a T1 Carnauba wax, because there is a pretty big difference, and I want to clear that up. But we want to keep it simple. We want to get this around this minivan, which is sizable to begin with, quickly. Get some nice gloss out of the surface and a little bit of protection and that dripping wet, incredible look. Let's get to work. With the old eyesore washed and looking so much better already, wouldn't you say? We do have some things I want to take care of first before we do our quick trip around the vehicle with 3D Speed. And let me show you what we're going to use. 3D Speed, I already shook it up vigorously. My favorite polisher, the Frankenstein. And we're going to use a HydroSelect's polishing pad. So they have a cutting pad, a medium polishing pad, and a finishing pad. We want something in the middle. The Eurofiber 50/50 pad on soft clear coat would leave hazing behind. I do not have time, nor do I want to invest in putting another step into this correction. I hope that makes sense. So this is the perfect team for that clear coat. Just some quick things I wanted to take care of before I did this trip around the van. Headlights, and they've already been redone. I won't have to worry about them, or neither will the next owner. We do have some transfer and a boo-boo going across the front of the bumper all the way, just about the whole length. I'm going to try to quickly take care of that and remove the transfer. Mineral spirits, thinner, sometimes Citral 266 work, sometimes panel preps work. We'll find something to quickly get that done. There is some transfer back here as well that I think we can improve before doing our polish. This back bumper is so trashed, I'm not worried about the paint, but I do want to do something before we start polishing with this supposed to be a dark plastic trim. And also, finally, this right here, the clasp or the clip is broke. So I'm going to just run a self-tapper, small one, right up into here. I don't want to use any glue or 3M tape or anything. A self-tapper right up into the plastic underneath here will work perfectly fine to hold that still. And that's going to be about it. Maybe a little bit of touch-up, because there are some chips all the way around. If I can find a blue that I already have laying back there and I don't have to purchase any more. We'll see. To cut to the chase here, we just grab some lacquer thinner. It's a solvent, and we'll remove as much of the transfer as we possibly can. What's left behind is probably the primer underneath the paint that's exposed because of whatever scraped it all the way across. And we could quickly fill that in with some touch-up, I suppose. I'll see what I can do to source a blue that is close enough. That's a little bit better. And you can see some of the whitish transfer that was, well, it's now on the towel. Next thing I want to address is this, the rear bumper piece is just flapping around back here. Surprisingly, this old thing doesn't have a whole lot of rust. So I do not want to drill into the body here. Any moisture will get in and around that area. It's going to start to rust. There is plastic behind here, however, so I will drill through this plastic into that plastic trim piece back here, or the inner fender well, and I'll run a self-tapper screw, and maybe I'll try to find a little bolt and nut to go back in there to pinch it in there. We'll see how that goes. Let me see what I can drill first. Okay, now I just need to find a little screw and run it in there, and that should hold it. Now, if this was something a little bit more elaborate and expensive, I would just go get the clasp or the clip is part of a long strip, metal strip that goes back through here. I would just source another one, but for this old eyesore, this is going to be good enough. Self-tapper should be plenty long. Push that back in. Found some. Shake it up. I have a whole box full of these. These don't last very long. They're not meant to. They want you to go back and buy more, so these dry up, get like string cheese or bubble gum, then you can't use them anymore. Something that's hard, well, an adjustment for me getting into this was learning to let things go. And in my former line of work with auto detailing, something like that wouldn't fly. So again, you just need to let things go, take a deep breath, move on, keep the overhead down. If a prospective buyer comes in and they're looking at that and that bothers them, I will offer to fix it for just a little bit more on top of the asking price. No problem at all. It's how you solve that. Let's handle this real quick, and we're going to do this the quick way. Vehicle's been washed and cleaned. I'm going to pop open the hatch, run some tape around it, and I have a plastic trim spray that will be a semi-permanent fix for this. Much better already. We just need to let that dry. That's drying in blotches, but they have gray and they have black in that spray, and that piece is gray, so I kept it that way. As that dries, we can continue on and do some other stuff. I want to do some touch up in areas like this with that blue that I found was just close enough. So we'll go around and quickly touch up some areas before we start the polishing. Time to start polishing, so let's take a look at the panel beforehand, showing all of its 168,000 miles. Wear and tear. Let's see what type of, let's see what difference we can make with the 3D speed. All right, we'll get that polish pad on here. Shake up the formula. 4 marble size droplets on the pad. Now I'm going to be able to do the whole fender, something this size, because 3D Speed has a really good, impressive open or cycle time. So let me spread out the polish here, the all-in-one. And now we'll do a crisscross pattern. I'm going to use a little bit more pressure than I normally do during correction, but I'm going to keep my correction speed at 1 to 2 inches per second. Quick tip here. Let me show you this. Let me wipe off the residue first from that polish that we did, crisscross pattern, equal to 2 passes, moderate pressure, the usual correction speed. Now, what I'll do is, before I move on to the next panel, while this is still just a little bit slightly warmer than usual because of the friction and the correction, is I will use 3D speed like a liquid wax and just gently cover the whole fender. Let's just smother the whole fender. Light pressure, don't want to dig in, with the Montan wax, and I'll make sure very lightly that it has even coverage, and because it's nice and warm because of the correction and the friction, I don't have to wait very long at all for this to haze over slightly. I have a nice, clean, soft, plush microfiber, and I can wipe off the 3D speed real quick, real easy. And that's all there is to it. Now I move on. This panel's done, and I just keep going back panel to panel to panel, and I keep repeating that. Now, why do I go ahead and lather the panel with 3D1 again after I've been done? Well, after working it with a polisher and a pad, you're breaking that Montan wax down a little bit with the friction, obviously, and a little bit of the warmth and heat. So another layer of fresh Montan on top of that, before moving on, will give you the most, you'll get the most out of the product, the best durability, and you'll be able to rely on, you know, however long you can get the Montan wax to last in your area, in your climate, in your weather. Let me grab you off the pedestal and let's see the difference now. And I know you can already see that dripping wet, buttery look. Perfect? Hell no, not even close. We aren't going to put that kind of time into this paint. We just want to get this look right here, this dripping wet look. And we did make a difference between the two areas. Take a look at this. See if I can get it to focus. And now look at that. Still have deeper scratches, still have some swirl marks, but let me back up and show you this. Look at the difference between the two panels. Night and day. Let me know that you could see that down in the comment section. And that's what we want for the whole vehicle. And that we can do in very little time. So we're going from this to that. Before we go any further, I've received questions on the wax that's within the formula of 3D speed. There's a difference between carnauba or T1 carnauba and Montana wax. Montana wax, which I explained in an earlier video, is extracted from brown coal with a solvent. And brown coal is only found in a few veins in Germany and also California and a couple small areas here and there. And it's a little bit more pricey because of that. It's a little bit more rare. And T1 carnauba, you extract from leaves from a palm tree by beating the leaf and extracting the wax coating that's on that leaf. So there is a pretty big difference between the two, and the brown coal wax, which is Montana wax, is a much more durable product. And I could tell you this, T1 carnauba may give it a little bit of a better dripping wet, buttery look, but Montana does a damn good job and gives it that dripping wet look as well. Let's continue on and get around the vehicle quickly and finish this. So I went all the way around and I stopped and I left this door. So we have this corrected and lathered with the Montana wax, and this one is just bare. No protection has been on this car for, well, probably since its inception. And let me give you an idea. No protection. Montana wax. Easy to dry with forced air. Look at that, dripping wet. Look at the hood. Look at that side. Guys, this thing was an absolute well, it's still an eyesore sitting in my parking lot, but let me know down in the comment section if this has made a little bit of a difference and made it look better. Let me back it outside, let you take a peek in direct daylight. Guys, I did this like I was on a mission, and you should with something like this. You don't want to tie up a lot of time into it. The wash process, which was condensed, and I showed you that in the video before this, and then the 3D speed, the correction, and the protection, and the dripping wet look all in one. In the second step from this video, put it all together in just a little bit over 2 hours, and I'm an old guy. You guys should be able to do circles around me. So there you go. Let me know what you think. This has been Brian from Apex Auction Car Reconditioning, and I'll catch you in the next video.